Well, folks, today we are discussing a question that's often overlooked, I think, in the American public's eye, and that is the death penalty effective, and should states have it, and should the federal government even implement it? Today, I'm going to try to answer that question both from a legal and biblical and moral standpoint today on the Adam Boyer Show. So sit back, kick your feet back, or up, or whatever the expression is, and enjoy.
In a world gone crazy, common sense, logic, and Christian values are needed. Adam Boyer is here to provide you all three in The Adam Boyer Show.
So, this is actually based off a paper I did not too long ago. I haven't gotten published anywhere yet. Should probably send it in. I don't remember. I might have sent it into our local newspaper. I honestly have to look back at it. But as I said, answering the question, is the death penalty effective? So, amidst widespread crime in the United States, the American public, the people, and especially the government, should be fighting to punish criminals, not encourage them, right? Well, in the current administration, we're seeing them not only encourage people to riot, get out in the streets and protest, not peacefully, encouraging them to riot, to protest to break federal law, protest in front of Supreme Court justices' houses. Not exactly doing a great job of punishing criminals so far, this administration. So, we're going to ask this question, or answer this question today, I should say. Should we reinstate the death penalty? As of now, I believe it is, and I'm going to check my stats here. 23 states still allow capital punishment, to my knowledge. This is as of the last time this was updated. I don't believe that anything has changed since I last wrote this, but if it has, it was only one or two states. I believe 27 states still allow capital punishment, and most of them use it in very rare instances. As of the time this was written, my own state, Virginia, was the most recent to abolish capital punishment. The Democrats controlled the legislature in both chambers, and the Democrat governor's mansion back in 2021, that's when they got it abolished with Governor Ralph Northam, who was our former governor here in Virginia, saying so many more African Americans have been executed than people not of color. So that's going to bring us to our first question, and is the death penalty racist? Because, the libs love to scream racist about, everything, but they scream racist about this too when it seems politically advantageous to them. The main claim, as I said, by today's experts, is that it is racist. However, according to the DPIC, the Death Penalty Information Center, a total of 2,553 people are currently on death row, with 1,062 of them being African American. If we look at the aforementioned statistics from the DPIC, you'll see that 41.60% of current death row inmates are black. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, but Adam, isn't the United States population only made up by 15% or so of blacks? And that would be correct. However, it's been reported that blacks committed 37% of violent crimes. I can't remember if this was just in 2021 alone. I think it might have been statistics from 2020. But it's from the legendary Diogenes. They reported that African Americans committed 37% of violent crimes. So, if blacks commit 37% of violent crime, and the current number of African Americans that are on death row is 1,062, or just over 41% of the death row inmates right now, that adds up pretty equally, right? There's 4% difference in there? And so that pretty much demolishes the death penalty is racist argument. It adds up pretty much equally all across the board. You're not going to be sent to the death penalty for a misdemeanor or even a low-class felony, really. It's usually you have to kill a lot of people to be sentenced to death row, honestly. That's just how it is in this country now. And whether or not that's a good thing, we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, this doesn't mean that the death penalty is racist. It just means that African Americans commit more crimes per capita than white people. And that's just statistics. That's not racist. That's not me being a Republican or a conservative or whatever. That's just facts. And of course, liberals don't like facts. To quote Ben Shapiro, facts don't care about your feelings, though. So that should knock down that one argument. And now we move on to number 2. As I said, I've said many times before on the show, I believe, I am a Christian. I'm a Bible-believing sinner saved by grace. And I hope those watching are as well. And if that's the case, we should want to do what the Bible says. Does the Bible permit the death penalty? The answer to that is not only yes, but it actually commands the death penalty. One of the places it says that is Romans 13:3-4 says, "For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister, the government is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For he beareth not the sword in vain, for he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil." And I don't currently have the references in front of me, but that is one of the references in the Bible where it seems to command capital punishment. And I don't know. I really have not done enough research into it. I probably should do some more. I don't know that you can say 100% sure if a government does not institute capital punishment, then the government is not following the Bible and not following God's word. But I think it's pretty clear myself that the Bible does command the death penalty. For instance, I think it was, yes, the ESV Study Bible writer for the book of Romans says about chapter 13, verse 4, that the reference to the sword most likely refers to the penalty of capital punishment. And again, there are other references in the Bible as well. So, so I should say, it might be confusing to a lot of folks. Especially if you're a little bit older, older than I, you might be thinking, did the death penalty not get abolished? How is it allowed in the states now? And you would be right. In 1972, the Democrat-controlled U.S. Supreme Court abolished the death penalty in all states in Furman versus Georgia. And then, unironically, starting in 1972, the crime rate began to significantly rise almost every year, all the way until 1994, even though the Supreme Court overturned the ruling just 4 years later in the 1976 case, Gregg versus Georgia. It was just... I think by then the damage had been done. I believe it was in 1994, though, or I don't remember if it was in 1994 the assault weapons ban went into effect by Congress. It was around then, though. Thank goodness that's gone. I don't know if that would have any effect on anything here, but different topic for a different time. So it was a very surprising ruling because the Constitution. I believe I don't have the case file in front of me, but I imagine that it was the Declaration of Independence combined with the Constitution, where they say people have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think that's probably where they were citing in order to get the excuse to abolish the death penalty. But so thankfully that was overturned. I believe in the 1976 case, Gregg versus Georgia, I believe by then the Supreme Court was controlled by Republicans. So I do think that answers the questions pretty pretty much of, is it legal? Yes. Is it effective? We'll look at that in a minute. And then, is it biblically permissible and even commanded? And I think the answer to that is yes as well. And I encourage you to do your own research into this as well, because this is just a very condensed version here. Don't have time to, to launch into a whole discussion about it. So, is it effective? Now, this is a very hard question to answer, and the numbers are very mixed, but in my own personal research, I came across fewer websites that claim that the death penalty has an effect on criminal activity than those that did not. But in a society that's increasingly hostile toward capital punishment and things of the Bible, it shouldn't come as a surprise that the numbers may definitely be skewed for political reasons. I think we have to admit that. And again, regardless of, is this the right thing to do, our government has not done anything to discourage crime. Romans 13:4, as I mentioned before, says the Bible is, or Romans 13:3 said the government is to promote good and discourage evil. And that's really the exact opposite of what we see in so many governments, the federal government right now, and many state governments as well, which is why another reason it's so important to elect good Christian moral leaders, and the majority of the time, I would not always vote blanket Republican. I think that's going to lead you to places you don't want to be in terms of governance. But I think most of the time Republicans are the ticket as far as controlling crime. And so, yeah, don't forget to vote whenever you have the opportunity. Work on political campaigns, volunteer, donate if you have money you can donate. It's always helpful to donate time, put up a yard sign, whatever. 2022 is going to be big. The midterms are going to be big. This is just one of the many issues why we need Republicans to regain control of the House and Senate. But with all that said, I'm going to sign off for now, folks. Yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this episode of the Adam Boyer Show. Don't forget to subscribe. Of course, there is always that. Yeah, so I'm sorry it's been a while since I posted. It's been like a month. Been very busy. I got a sports channel. Of course, I think that's linked in the whole featured channels section. You can check that out if you want, if you're interested in sports. But yeah, so I do think that answers the questions. I don't know that we can really answer if it's effective or not. But regardless if it is, the Bible commands it. And yeah, that should really answer the questions for Christians in a country that, although diminishingly so, claims to still be Christian. Although we know that's probably not true. But yeah, so I think that should answer the questions pretty well. Don't forget to vote, folks. I know it's early, but I'm already urging people to go out and vote for the midterms, just keeping that fresh in your mind. Don't forget what the Democrats have done to this country. Whoa, you just made it to the end of an episode of the Adam Boyer Show. If you've made it all this way, you must have liked what you've seen, so you know what you need to do, right? Like the video, help the reach spread, and get the word out about this show. Also, subscribe. You won't regret it.